And welcome back to the Countdown. I'm the Countdown host, MJ Book, back here to continue with part 2 of favorite wrestling heels. And if you tuned into part 1, that was a very deep discussion with wrestling. And by discussion, obviously that means I'm not here by myself. Once again, finishing her off, the host of Buzzing with Marlo, a wrestling man himself with the wrestling knowledge, whether you want to hear it or not, he's got it for you. So I'm telling you to listen to it. Or Marlo, how is it going?
MJ, what's up, man? I love the presentation, man, especially the one "Love It or Not." we
Feel
got
free
both
to
ways,
use it.
Definitely.
Feel free to use it. But if you get paid, I expect a check.
Oh yeah.
But we went a little long, but that's what always happens. You all know this. You're used to it. And besides, it's wrestling. And when two people are passionate about a topic, it's going to go long. And I'm passionate. He's passionate about it. So, of course, it's going to go long. But we're going to do this. Part 2, I'm pretty sure it's going to be just as passionate as part 1. Probably more because we're hitting the top half here of our favorites. We left off with number 6, my number 6. So we're just going to dip into it. Number 5, sir. Top half.
All right, man. Number 5. Probably arguably one of the greatest wrestlers. When we say third generation wise, you got to put this guy in a category. He is better than his dad. He's better than his grandfather.
Okay, I know
it is the one and only, the Viper, Randy Orton. If you think about a heel that literally drew so much heat, the matches he did with John Cena, the match he did with Triple H going into WrestleMania, kissing Stephanie McMahon. Come on. And then kicking Vince McMahon's head. And you actually feeling sorry for Vince McMahon.
And Shane.
Like you couldn't do that with many people. Randy Orton is going to be arguably one of the top heels in the game. That's why he's my number 5th. My 5th one, the Mr. RKO, not the RK Bro.
Out of nowhere.
That's pretty funny. The memes that go on for Randy.
The vines
just
are
arguably.
Everywhere.
Oh my gosh, Randy!
His career will be over, and we'll still see those.
Like when I was little, and I obviously I played basketball, so I dressed like John Cena. My main look was I wanted to look like Randy Orton. Man, Orton looked like $1 million. Every girl wanted him. Every girl wanted him, and I wasn't bad looking, body frame wise. I wasn't too bad. But obviously, nobody's going to be like Randy Orton. Randy Orton looked like that guy that you just looked at him, you wanted to hate him because you just thought it wasn't normal for someone to look like that and eat cheeseburger after cheeseburger and cheeseburgers, which now he has actually said he has to eat a lot cleaner now. But just looking at him, you wanted to hate him. Like, you can't not put Randy Orton in the top heels list without putting him in this category because Randy is the man, in my opinion. Probably the best guy that's going on in WWE. Period. Like, in my opinion.
Didn't you say that about Roman?
No, Randy is the veteran, in my opinion. Like the true veteran. Definitely the vet.
He's been around longer. Yeah, Randy, not in my 10. Because I've never liked Randy Orton. I just never did, which is funny. I love his old man. I love Cowboy. I love Ace, but not a fan of Junior. Not a fan of Randy. I've only rooted that guy one time in my life. Once. Really? One time. The WrestleMania I went to, I rooted for him. My aunt, who had at that time recently passed away, rest in peace, Mary, that was her dude. She loved Randy Orton in every way I never wanted to know. She loved Randy Orton. She loved Randy Orton. I didn't want to know. Yeah, I didn't need to know some of those thoughts that she had about Randy. I'm like, you can keep those to yourself. But she had recently passed away. So that day, I rooted for Randy, for Mary. But only that Dang. Other than that, I have solidly booed him. Even though I love Riddle, I'm still booing Randy. He just gets some cheers because he's next to Riddle. So yes, I love Riddle. I know. I get made fun of for that one too. I
Nah,
love Riddle.
I've grown with Riddle. I like Riddle now
I love
because
him.
I just see how characteristic he is now. I mean, I think him being on the main roster, it's brought out on him to actually say, "Hey, I need to get this more broadened out." Like,
Oh,
how
he's
many
so
people you know could
charismatic.
wrestle
He,
barefooted, and just so energetic with the crowd, and you
he's
could just tell
so
he's a
charismatic
huge fan, and
and
he
a
loves
huge
every bit
seller.
that he's doing, every
Huge.
bit he's doing.
He's a great seller. A great seller. You think he's getting killed when he gets those, like the Bobby Lashley stuff. I'm like, Bobby, I know this is predetermined, bro, but I kind of am getting afraid you're gonna kill him. You look like you're really killing him, but
Mm-hmm.
he's that good of a seller. And that gimmick, I'll end this with this because Riddle's obviously not going to be on this list either. But who else could get that gimmick over? That gimmick, if you really look at it, it's so stupid.
It's a buff Eugene.
I think it might be dumber than that. It's really, really dumb. But he got that over. And I don't think he gets credit enough for getting something that dumb, but he got it over. Mm-hmm. I've been called crazy thinking that guy in a few years is going to be WWE champion. People think, I've had people say he will never have that belt. Oh, yes, he will. Oh, yes, he will. It might be first when he's a heel, which I think he'll be very good as a heel. But
I think if he gets out of the barefoot motive, if he goes heel, he needs to start wearing shoes or something. He needs to have a different look.
Oh, yeah.
Not be funny. None of that. Like, he needs to be really dead strict, serious. I mean, like, if we think about it like the machine, like a wrestling machine, like Kurt Angle was in TNA.
He can do
like that type of book look. I agree with you on that.
He can do it. All right. Number 5. And again, this is going to shock some folks. I'm about to say this dude's name, and I cannot believe I'm about to say his name. For those watching, please forgive me. Yeah. The dead man. The Undertaker.
Probably the Ministry days.
Yeah. Ministry Taker. But here's the thing, and why ultimately I put Taker a little lower than some might have thought I would have put him. I've just never looked at Taker and thought heel. I just never did, because I was always a Taker fan. I just always was. So I just never looked at him as a heel. I just looked at him as, that's the Undertaker.
Okay.
I don't care what you're doing. I don't care who you do it to. I mean, there was literally, he could beat up anybody in that company. I did not care. I don't care. You want to beat up, Trish Stratus? Go ahead. Don't care. You want to go beat up Vince? Go ahead. I don't really care. The Rock, Austin, have fun. Triple H. Hey, got to do what you got to do, bro. Your own brother. Hey, sorry, man. Paul. Hey, come on. You turned your back on him. Bye-bye. I didn't care. It was Taker. So I just never looked at him as a heel. And I think it's because of that he couldn't quite be
Ministry.
Up like even Ministry.
Undertaker.
Even Ministry, which is my favorite.
Scary looking.
It's my favorite Undertaker is Ministry. That when he crucified Austin, I loved it. I just loved all that. The music he had for that, the Ministry music. It's among my favorite Undertaker musics. Taker, I've said it numerous times. He's one of my all-time favorites. Taker is absolutely the man. And I mean, I'm looking over to my right. I'm looking at my Undertaker belt. I have a lighter. several DVDs and Blu-rays. There's a floor mat. There's an action figure. There's a necklace. There's a mask. I mean, there's all kinds. Taker has his own shelf. His own shelf over here. It's all Taker. Love Undertaker, and I hope he's really retired because he's already played this game too much. He had the perfect wrestling retirement, and he blew it. I bought. Thank you,
we will
Taker.
have a lot of time to talk about that damn retirement. Like, I was so pissed. I was there. We were there for 2 extra hours in that ring waiting for him to take his boots off, kiss his wife. I told my wife, this is my wife's first real wrestling event to see this. And she was like, so what's so memorable? This is it. This is his final one. My mom, we had tears coming down our eyes.
So did I.
I've been watching Taker forever.
All my life, it feels like.
Now, you say you didn't see him as a heel. I saw him as a heel from the beginning because rolling the eyes of the back of the head, man, you look possessed. Like, honestly, if you really wanted a character that he was a heel, believe wrestling, Taker was that guy for me. If people want to talk about Mike Myers, Freddy Cougar, and them, Taker was mine. Like, honestly. With the eyes, the ministry look where his beard was dangling down.
I remember.
He just looked sadistic to me. It was just like, you're there, bro. I'm done. You do what you.
I get it. I do get it. He looks like a heel. I just never thought of him as a heel because I loved him from day when he first showed up with Brother Love as his manager on the $1 Million team at the Survivor Series. I was bought in right there. Second one, bought in. So I just never looked at him in that heel perspective because I loved him. I didn't care what he did. When you love somebody that much, it really doesn't matter what they do. They could be the most despicable human being walking, and you do not care. That was Taker.
The main memorable thing I say about Taker is Taker's the reason why I love The Rock, because the time that I really got to see The Rock was when he laid the people's elbow on Undertaker and his banner dropped down. This is when Rock was about to get his first WWF title match against Undertaker. And man, that drew me to watch The Rock. I was like, whoa. Everybody at school was talking about Austin, but I like The Rock. Like, that was my guy because he took out the Undertaker. Like, the guy that literally came from the grave, in my opinion. Like, I believed all of that.
I mean, I'm still pissed off about that retirement. I literally the next day bought "Thank You Undertaker" shirt. I still have it. It's right in my closet. I still have it, and it pissed me off because it's like, now this shirt is meaningless. It's meaningless. Now maybe it means something, but because you did that once, I think you're going to do it again. I hope not, because I got a belt because of this retirement, your last ride Blu-ray I have. If he plays that game again with me, I don't know if I'll recover. He better not play that game with me again. Like, you can't mess with somebody.
His body can't handle it. His body can't handle it anymore.
Oh no, his body couldn't handle it 10 years ago.
When he had the hip surgery, and which we knew that was the main alternative that he really thought was done, is when he got his hip surgery. Like how you said, I saw Mark at the hotel literally before.
Met him too.
At the end of I meant literally.
You could see him walking
after WrestleMania, and you could just see him. And
when you see him walk,
bad.
I mean, people see him walk to the ring. That's not how he walks. When you see him really
shots and stuff he has to have in his body just to
when you can look at him and you're like, that's the Undertaker walking like that. I mean, you could tell the dude is just a walking bruise, but that's why he's the Phenom. He's why he has the most respect in the business. There ain't nobody that don't respect that man. And if they don't respect him, they aren't in the business. They're just not in the business. Everybody respects that guy. Even the lowliest of wrestlers respect that dude. So props to Undertaker. I'm sorry you're number 5, man, but damn it. In there, you just weren't a heel for me. So, number 4.
All right. The podcast I did recently. Oh my gosh. Shout out to my boy Dre on Wheels and Shiz Lansky off of
God,
the
okay.
Top Roast podcast, where he metaphored this was so glorious. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out on YouTube. You will die laughing. This had me literally on my ass after I finished recording. I was so like my cheeks were hurting because I was laughing so hard.
Ridiculous comparison I've ever heard.
But number 4 is the one and only, the man that made wrestling into sports entertainment, the man that made the superhero look into entertainment, the guy that separated wrestling from territories to being worldwide. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I've got the one and only Vincent Kennedy McMahon. If you want to say a true heel, that name says it all. You absolutely booed this man from your first time watching wrestling to now. You will always respect him because he gave you wrestling in a worldwide aspect and was very smart with it, because guess what? There wasn't that many people wrestling on TV. So guess who got all the exposure? WWE. And man, let me tell you, for Vince McMahon to actually go and be that heel for Stone Cold, I say The Rock and Austin. Austin is obviously remembered with the stuff that he did with Vince McMahon.
More than anybody.
That's honestly what made Stone Cold Steve Austin is Vince McMahon. So you cannot put him in any list under a 10. Like, you had to have him at least in your top 5 for a bad guy in wrestling. Vince McMahon has always got to be in that category, because the man, you hated him. You hated him. If his son, his daughter was wrestling, you still hate Vince McMahon. Like, honestly.
Not his daughter.
And the one man that would actually book a show against him and God. I mean,
that was just funny. Yeah. McMahonism.
That was it.
McMahonism, yeah. That was actually funny. Him and Shane in the church.
That was it right there.
Him and Shane in the church. That was just weird. That's Vince. He's just a weirdo. It.
Vince McMahon had too much fun with that storyline. Oh my God.
He has fun with every storyline.
One thing I do say good about Vince, though, he would never have you do something that
he won't do himself. Yeah, Vince not in my top 10 because I left this to wrestlers, and I don't think of Vince as a wrestler. But he did make it as an honorable mention. I put him there. That's as high as I could get him because he's just not a wrestler to me. But he has to be at least honorably mentioned because he was the most despicable non-wrestler maybe there's ever been. So I got him in that honorable mention thing, but I just couldn't go any further than that. But it's definitely a good pick. And I was wondering if I should even mention him as an honorable mention. But then you said it.
I was back and forth. I was back and forth on it at first because when you first talked about this list, I was like, and then I was looking, I was like, yeah, Vince did wrestle a good few matches. So he's technically is a wrestler in ways because he has wrestled a shitload of matches. So
yeah, I saw.
I was like, you know what? I was like, you know what? Why not?
I saw one of them. I was there. I saw his match against Brett. Yeah. No. That
you could tell Brett wanted that.
I didn't need it. That thing was like 30 minutes long. It's just brutal, just torture. That thing is torture. It's one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life.
They should have done that match to kick off that Dark Side of the Ring episode with him with the screw job.
That's when they should have done that match. But Brett was somewhere else at the time. Brett had gone down south. But I'll mention a couple of other honorable mentions. Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
It's too early to put him higher up, but
Too early.
it speaks volumes on just how good of a heel he is just to put him in there. Because he is disgustingly despicable. I never liked Shield Seth Rollins. I just never did.
You didn't know much of him. You didn't really see much of Seth. Like,
yeah, I didn't know honestly, what he could do. I knew he could wrestle, but that was it.
Yeah, that was all we knew. Because honestly, I thought when the Shield was first formed, I really thought the true bad guy was going to be Dean. The way he carried
That's what everybody said.
Like
Dean was my favorite.
I really thought Dean was going to be that guy who was going to turn on the Shield, or Roman, because Roman was getting too popular. So when Seth turned, I mean, heat just came out of nowhere, and you just hated Seth. That year, Seth carried that brand.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
And corporate ass kissing Seth, wasn't a fan of that one either. No, and when he became Seth friggin' Rollins' face, I just didn't care. That. Good matches, but didn't care. But the second he became the Monday Night Messiah, bought in. I was bought in. That is so genius. It is so genius. It's so left field. And it reeks of Vince. You just said it. Vince in a church. Vince looked at him and said, you kind of look like Jesus. I
guarantee you this was an idea from both of them. I guarantee
it was probably both did that. But I'm sure Vince, it started with somewhere along the line, Vince said, you look like Jesus. That had to come about somewhere down the line. Because he does. He does. So the Monday Night Messiah and everything he's doing now, he is far better at heel than he will ever be at face. He's not a good face. He's just not. He
don't ever need to be a face. He never needs to be a face.
He's too despicable, and he's good at it, and he's enjoying himself, and his originality comes out as a heel. He's boring as a face.
Is annoying. That damn laugh.
I love it.
That laugh is not a babyface laugh. Period.
No, it's not a babyface laugh. It is pure heel. When he talks, it's pure heel. He should never, ever, ever, ever be a face. He will eventually, but he should just never be a face. No. He's not good at it. And I'll say one more heel out of respect to Macho Man Randy Savage. Rest in peace, Macho Man. I didn't like King Macho, but I love the early WWF days when he was the Intercontinental Champion with Elizabeth. Those days. Loved me some Randy Savage. So rest in peace to Randy Savage. All right. My next one here.
I got one.
Go ahead.
Alberto Del Rio as a
Oh God, no.
I say it's a little early. That's why I said an honorable mention. Another one that I was back and forth was I was really shocked. I didn't want to say his name was Christopher Daniels, because him as a heel,
he was good as a heel.
Him as a heel made AJ Styles in my.
He made AJ. Yeah, I've heard about that. He was good as a heel. I didn't watch TNA that much for obvious reasons, but I watched some things. I watched Samoa Joe. That was he was like the only one I paid attention to over there was Samoa. Even when Kevin Nash and Sting and they were there, I didn't care. I was paying attention to Samoa.
You knew it was going downhill when all those guys started coming.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, when Hogan showed up, that's what did it. Hogan. Yeah. Son of a bitch. Yeah. I bet you said it. Eventually, we're gonna have to do something about Hogan because I can't stand that man. I hate his guts. I don't even respect.
He should
him.
Be on your list then, if that's the case.
No,
since you hate him so bad.
He's not a heel. I mean, in WCW, yeah,
Hollywood.
But he was more popular than the faces. Yeah. Look at all those NWO shirts. Was that a heel? He wasn't a heel.
You really can't. That's honestly why you can't really say any of the heels nowadays, because they're more popular than the faces now.
So some of them you can. which actually conveniently leads to my number 4. There ain't no doubt that this dude's a heel. I mean, there is absolutely no one on the face of this earth that don't think this man is a heel. If you watch wrestling, you should already know who I'm talking about. He is hands down one of the most despicable human beings walking this earth, and he's so good at it. It is MJF.
It's too soon. Too soon.
I agree, it's too soon.
Too soon.
But he is so good at it. He's so good. He's such an he's an old school heel. You don't see heels go to this length to be despicable. He goes far to be a heel. Flipping off kids, even in autograph signings, he flips them off. You don't have to go that far with it, but he does. He's so. I went to that AEW show in Chicago. Let me tell you something. The person who got the biggest boost was MJF. It was hands down. They were cussing his ass out. I mean, I'm hearing F-bombs just flying all over the place at him. MJF is a genius as a heel. And the second I saw him, the first person I thought of was Miz. I thought of Miz right away. One, he already looks like Miz a little bit, which is kind of weird, but he acts just like him. So arrogant, so smug, such a prick. One of those people you just look at, just looking at him, you want to punch him. Hasn't even said anything, and you just want to punch him. Mm-hmm. That is the greatest compliment to a heel. He doesn't even need to talk, and you already hate him. Some of these other heels have to say something. He just stands there. He can.
You just look at him. You look at him, and you want to.
He's so smug. He's such a prick. Normally, I said it with Seth Rollins. It's too early. To me, it's just not too early.
Way too early, though. He's only been wrestling not even that long.
I know.
Not even that long.
I know, but he's gone to such
Seth has been
lengths.
in the ring more than him.
I know. But he's such a heck of a heel. He's such an offshoot. He's such a mock-up of the heels I remember coming up watching. The ones that were when there was no, this is fake and, predetermined. Miz lives in the old, Miz and MJF, they all live in the old school of wrestling when we didn't know it was a work. That's where they live, and they still bring it here. He's one of the few you look at and you think, he's not pretending. This is who he is. He's a prick. And that's the ultimate.
The best thing I got to say about MJF is where his parents hold a sign that he's a dick. Like
exactly. He even gets his family involved. And I remember he tweeted a message. Said, "Shut up, mom," or something. He cussed his own mom out. I'm like, come on, man. You don't have to go that far. But
we get it, buddy.
I love him. I absolutely love MJF. I can't help it. Love him. It's maybe too early, but I don't care.
I will say this to end that off with MJF. He is the face of AEW. And if they want a guy to get a belt that is going to put asses in seats, sell ticket after ticket, you need to put that damn title on MJF. Period. I don't care his work ethic or what. Him having that title is going to build your brand.
He'll be the next heel to have it. The next person to have it will obviously be a face. And I think it should be like Darby Allin, personally.
It's probably going to be Adam Page.
I wouldn't mind Adam Page having it. That wouldn't bother me. But I'm waiting. Darby's year will be next year. I think Darby will be next year. But I think MJF will be the one who beats Darby. So we'll see. My number 4.
Yeah, we did a prediction on that.
MJF. I'm living with it. It may be early. I don't care. Love him.
All right. You ready for number 3?
Go for it, sir.
Is your boy, You've been praising about him since I have met you.
Oh,
Um, we said honorable mentions. I literally could never not put this man on a list of a heel. I think any wrestler has been in a ring, you have watched a film of him and tried to reenact it to your own extent, and you still can't do it. Roddy Piper. Rowdy Piper, man, let me tell you, that guy could spit in your face, could do anything he wanted, and you literally wouldn't do a reaction because you knew he was that fucking crazy. Like, period. If you want to know stories about Roddy Piper, you will realize why he was who he was. That guy was legit scary. He may not look like the biggest guy in the room, whatever, but
he's
you
the
weren't gonna mess
toughest.
with his ass.
He's the
You
toughest.
weren't gonna mess with him. If you
No,
want stories to know about somebody that bitched Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper is that guy.
he said it himself. He's the reason Hogan is bald.
Yep. I mean,
And that's pretty true.
Piper. If you really think about it, Piper made WrestleMania to what it is now. Period. That's my number 3, Roddy Piper.
I mean, I
Wrestling
could
heel.
comment, but I think anybody who knows me knows we can just save that part for later.
Well, we already know.
Clearly, anyone who knows me knows Piper's gonna show up.
We already know.
So, yeah, I'll save Piper for later. May not be much later because we only have a few left. But my number 3 is someone who also recently, or not recently, but has been on a return over the last year. He is the rated R superstar, Edge.
Yep.
Edge is another one of those heels that just didn't care. He was going to say and do whatever the hell he wanted to do to be despicable. And they said it recently. Seth Rollins is a very good comparison to Edge. They do act alike. They are slimy, just slime bucket characters, but they're so damn good at just being slimy. Edge, he did not care what it took to be on top. He's going to go out there. If he has to be married to Vicky Guerrero, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do whatever I want. So I'm going to go out in the middle of the ring and have a public sex show. That's Edge. That's the rated R superstar. I mean, never before has a nickname been more appropriate for somebody than Edge, the rated R superstar. One of those few wrestlers that it was very rare that I couldn't root for him.
Oh,
I mean,
I agree with you on that.
It's a few times I
agree with you on
couldn't, like Taker. Couldn't do it. Not against Taker. But pretty much everybody else he was facing didn't care. And of course, he's one of the few that could absolutely abuse John Cena. I personally loved it when he slapped John Cena's dad. I just loved it.
If you really think about it, a guy that really pushed Cena to that atmosphere of stardom, you got to say Edge. Like,
Edge was his best dance partner.
It was Cena's call. Cena even said it. Like, he told Vince, hey, let Edge cash in the Money in the Bank. Let Edge do it on me tonight. And man, did he get heat for that. You didn't hear one pop when Edge won that title. That was straight boos out of that building.
He didn't care.
If you really think about it, the first Money in the Bank cash in, and literally all boos, but every single other one was all cheers. Regardless if you were a heel or a face, you were excited to see them cash it in finally.
Oh, I was extremely excited to see him cash it in. Edge is an all-time legend. He gets it. He gets this. He gets the business in a way that most people just don't get it. They didn't get it then, and a lot of them still don't get it now. He could teach so much about the business.
The guy I hated when he was a bad guy, and literally could cry when he sat here and said, "I had to retire." And when he came back to the Rumble, let me tell you this. When he came back for the Rumble, there is not one person that can honestly say they didn't love wrestling again because of that moment.
That was one of those rare moments in wrestling. It was, I mean, you knew it was happening on some levels because
I was
the
kind of mad
signs
he
were
didn't win the
there.
WrestleMania.
There were
I was
rumors.
mad that he didn't win that. I was mad that he didn't
Yeah,
win the WrestleMania. I really
yeah, I would
believe
have liked to see that, but I
that
understand
would have been a
why.
great one.
I
And
understand
for
why
the
though.
matches that he's still being able to perform, like
Oh,
honestly, the
Seth
matches he
Rollins.
did with Orton, Seth Rollins, the stuff he's doing with Seth Rollins. Oh my gosh.
That's the best feuds of the year. Is his feud with Seth Rollins?
Edge
That's
is like 50 something years old and still is the one the main talk about guys in the
he's in better
ring.
shape now than he's ever been
Oh my
before.
gosh.
The guy's cut. He's absolutely ridiculous. Edge, the things he could teach wrestlers is out of this world. And it comes from a very simple place, from that little boy up in Canada who just loves wrestling.
Wrestling.
He gets it. He understands it. He loves his business. And the dude, thankfully, he was a little bit of a prick in his younger days, but aren't we all?
Oh,
Aren't we all? We all are. Come
I
on,
mean,
we
the
all are.
real stuff, I mean, for him to do the story that he did with Matt Hardy, knowing the
Well,
shit was real,
well,
knowing
yeah,
it
that was
was
completely
real.
real. That wasn't that was totally real.
So if you watch their first match, they literally were beating the tar out of each other.
And that's why the match ended early because somebody
And
got
that's why the
cracked
match
in the
ended.
head because they
That's why
took
the
it
match
too
ended.
real and you never saw anything again because Vince learned his
Like
lesson. We can't go there again.
you even sat back and you're like, why is Matt Hardy here? Like, is this a story or is this real? Like you heard it on, I can't remember the show. I think it was WWE Confidential or something like that. It was a Saturday
Yeah,
night show
probably
or
was.
whatever. And then you're like, oh shit, Matt Hardy's on the phone. And then it just built up so much more. And then when obviously Edge and Lita did their little wedding thing and Matt Hardy's song came on, and you're like, oh, we going this way. And then all of a sudden, they didn't announce his name, and he started coming back. He started coming back. I think those are some of the best feuds I've seen with Edge. Is just
Yeah, a rated R superstar, and obviously Hall of Famer, tremendous legend, made the money in the bank. He made it. That's his. I mean, they could just call that the Edge case. You could just name that after Edge because he made that damn thing.
flat out,
He made it. He absolutely
flat out.
made it. You could just put Edge's logo on that case permanently. Nobody's gonna have a problem with that because he made the damn match. So
All
rated
his
R
returns,
superstar.
you never could predict. All his returns, you never could predict him coming back.
No,
He's
but
one of the few guys that actually you never could predict coming back.
I will close this with though with Edge. It's great. Even though he's not a heel right now, but seeing this run he's on, it feels good because you can see he's at a great place in his life. He's closing his wrestling career on his terms, not because of a doctor. And I know people would love to see him have a belt. He's one of the few. He does not need it. He just does not. What belt are you going to put on him? He just doesn't need it. It's not going to make him any bigger. It could only make him, it won't do nothing. A belt does nothing to him. So
It'll
I'm
just be
enjoying the
him having a
run.
championship. It would honestly just be him on a scorecard, in my opinion.
He doesn't,
With a guy, I mean, with Edge, I can relate to so much. Like I've had neck problems and stuff like that, and that's one reason why I had to get out of the ring. And when I saw him come back, and I'm just sitting there like him, Daniel Bryant, Paige, all these guys are coming back from neck injuries. I'm sitting there looking like, can I really even use this as an excuse anymore? Like it made me second guess. Like I looked at myself, I'm like, I look really good. I look better than I did when I was in the ring. And I'm like, is neck problem really an issue in wrestling anymore? Like he made you really think about it. Like some of these things. And it's just like Edge really captivates what wrestling needs to be and what it's always going to be to us when you think of Edge. So great pick on that one. I would definitely like that one.
great. We are at the runner up. The person that almost made it, but not quite.
Gotta be CM Punk.
That's why he gave me shit.
my heat with CM Punk is personally and all real.
I've heard this.
When Punk turned on The Rock, I absolutely hated that scumbag. When Punk, the stuff that he did with Cena, you could not. Honestly, you felt bad for Cena. Like
No.
honestly. Like no, but I'm saying as a kid's aspect, like you felt bad for Cena. Like, oh damn, CM Punk beat him. Like in my opinion, I'm an old school look. I'm not the biggest guys, ladies and gentlemen, but damn it, I'd look better than Punk. And him being in a dunk to dun and shit like that. And I'm sitting, I'm like, man, he looks pregnant in ways. Like,
Oh,
on,
jeez.
like, why do y'all cheer for this dude?
I gotta go there with it.
And hey, like I said, I got personal issues with his ass.
You had to go there with it.
But like the stuff that he would say, and you're just looking at him like, man, I just want to knock you the hell out. Like honestly, when you go to these shows, you just want to jump the rail to beat the living tar at his ass. Like those are just those heat moments, like how you said about MJF. CM Punk knew the business. He knew the business, even if he was backstage heat in ways. And I believed every bit of it. But with me and my wrestling background, I actually could compare some of it with that because favoritism is in everything, ladies and gentlemen. And Punk was the one to make this stand and said, hey, I'm not dealing with this. I'm not kissing their ass. I'm not going to sit here and do what you want me to do. I'm going to do my thing, and that's it. And Punk's one of those guys that literally, if you think of feuds, I don't think there's one feud that you don't think about with CM Punk. Obviously, with him in Ring of Honor and stuff like that, I think he was more of a babyface than anything. He came in there with the long hair, the little piercing in his face, whatever, and then he was straight edge and all that. And I just looked at him and was like, I don't think he's going to be a good guy for long. He's too chipper for a moment. I'm like, the moment that people are really going to capitalize on him is when he's going to be a bad guy. And this is me at like 15 or 16 years old saying that, oh, he's going to be a bad guy pretty soon. Like that was my mindset of when it came to wrestling. And just those stuff that he did with Cena, the shit he done with Triple H. Oh my gosh.
Pipe bomb.
The pipe bomb, the stuff that he did with Vince, like he was supposed to be a babyface at the time, but he was literally throwing a heel promo in ways. Like it was just like you felt bad for Vince in ways. Like you were just like, how did that role switch like that? Like you just hated Punk in ways. So Punk is definitely going to be hate it. Since it's a bad guy list, he's going to be in my top 2 for sure.
Well, he made ice cream bars popular.
It took him long enough.
I mean, he made the ice cream. He finally got them ice cream bars. But I love CM Punk. I mean,
I didn't get that tattooed on him.
Maybe he does. We just don't. We can't see it.
That Rock promo is all I remember with CM Punk. That shit was so funny.
Well, I mean, it's getting a little off base with CM Punk, but over at AEW, the stuff he recently just did with Eddie Kingston, the promo that they shared back and forth, that is one of the best promos I've seen recently. I mean, they're eviscerating each other pretty good. And depending on certain people, some think Eddie did a little better. Some think CM Punk did better. But the fact that you can even have that debate speaks to how good Eddie did. Because normally they would have just said CM Punk destroyed him. But the fact that half are kind of saying Eddie won it, that means, which Eddie's always been good with his mouth. I just don't like his wrestling. But his mouth, he's very, I don't like Eddie in the ring. I just don't. I can't stand him. Eddie stinks him.
You talking
like
about Kingston? Okay, yeah. We've already had my view on that, and I got heat from that other podcast I was on because of that shit.
I hate Eddie Kingston.
I agree with you on that.
I can't stand him.
That promo, I actually got hopes for a Kingston in that match because
that's
that promo,
Eddie at his best.
That gave me visual to be like, hey, I want to watch Full Gear now because Everybody's praising all about these matches and stuff like that. And I was like, it's just going to be another CM Punk, I'm begging for the crowd to cheer for me match. No, this match, I really believe Punk is going to be like, I would say like the Seth Rollins, like we sat here and said, like had to go to that monstrous visual to turn into a bad guy. I think that's what we're getting in Full Gear with CM Punk. Because if we don't, it's not going to be a good match.
That's what I said. I hope I said it earlier. I hope
it's going to kill ratings if they don't have that turn.
I'm hoping we're getting to Punk being a heel again, just not on Fridays. Shift him over. Not on Friday.
Retire.
I can't even watch that show anymore. I just can't. I can't do it.
Just think of the Young Bucks as Ghostbusters.
Please don't. Please don't. I have not watched that show either since that. I have not even watched it. Since I turned the TV off, I have not watched AEW. The first time I'll be watching AEW since that is tomorrow when I watch Full Gear. So, which I'll be watching here with Rob. Will be reviewing everything after the show, so that'll be fun. Oh boy, my runner-up, and this is also gonna shock people that this person will be on the list probably, and that they're this high up. But this person did such a great job at being a heel that they deserve their prop. It's Two Belts Bayley.
I knew you were going to put her in there. I knew
Bayley.
I was thinking you're going to put her as number one, but we already know who your number one is.
Yeah, Bayley. And one of the reasons she's this high up, not only is because she did such a great job as a heel, but because nobody thought she could do it. Nobody thought that she could be a good heel. Nobody thought you could take the character that she was doing and somehow twist it and somehow become a heel. Not only did she twist it, I would say for a good year or so, she was saving the company. She was the best thing going. And you could argue she is still one of the best things going, and she's not even wrestling. Look at WrestleMania. The place was chanting for Bayley. It's not like she's a face. She's still a heel, and the place was loving Bayley. I mean, I'm going to show this. It's my Bayley belt. Yep, I got a Bayley belt, and it's got it. This actually has the plates. I bought the plates for this one. And so this
first time you ever had a Divas Championship, ladies and gentlemen.
No, that's not a Divas Championship. This is
that's the actual one?
No, this is not Diva. This says Women's Championship.
Oh,
not Diva. This ain't Diva.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that was that butterfly crap. No, thank you. No, thank you. Bayley, I got laughed at so many times for saying I was a Bayley fan when she was a face because it doesn't fit me. You look at me, you know me, that's not a character I would normally like. But for some reason, I liked her. And I was one of the few people that was going to believe in her as a heel. I was curious if she could do it, but I was going to be bought in. And when she was sitting in that ring and she talks about life sucks and then you die. As soon as she said that,
you said that one.
When she said it, I'm like,
you love her.
That's it. You're sold. It's off to the races from here. And the next year would be one of the best years in women's wrestling ever. And it's because of Bayley. I can't wait for her to come back. She is a fame Hall of Famer and one of the greatest women's wrestlers ever, who's brought great attention to a sport that was ruined by a bunch of divas. So big time props to Bayley. Two Belts Bayley. Love her to death. Can't wait for her to come back. And she deserves to be on this runner-up spot. She did an amazing, amazing job. She was so good, I bought a belt and these damn plates, which if you buy these plates, these are not cheap.
No,
these are like $50 to $90 a pop.
Yep.
And they come in a case. The case is right there. It's got Bailey's logo on it. Bailey, 2 belts Bailey.
I love it. I love that one. That's a good pick. All right. Since you switched over and put Bailey in there, I've got to put a Divas in there, even though I'm at number 1. So there's 3 options that I had. The only reason why my number one is not number 1 anymore is due to personal reasons. Obviously, what's been going on now. We don't want people to sit here and attack us for, oh, you're praising this guy, which it's a whole nother generation. They can deal with it, whatever they want. Listen to my podcast. Listen to my podcast. And if you have a problem with it, I don't care. But I'm gonna put his daughter, Charlotte Flair, because honestly, she is better than her dad. I'm sorry. She is what WWE needs to stay alive, to do whatever. You need Charlotte Flair, period. If you needed a girl to get Rhea Ripley over, you needed a girl to get Nikki Cross over. Like, honestly, Charlotte Flair is the person. That is my number 1. And it was a fight between her and Bailey and Sasha. Obviously, Bailey really did change the platform. Honestly, those 2 and Sasha, you have to put them in a category hands down. But Charlotte tops all of them. I'm sorry, Charlotte Flair is better than
the
her
man.
dad.
She is the man. Put the man in there too.
Yeah, but the thing is, the man, it wasn't a heel as long though. It was more of a praise. Charlotte comes in getting straight heat in ways. Like, honestly, Bailey doesn't get the heat that much as everybody's thinking. Bailey gets a praise. Sasha gets a praise. Charlotte has been her original heat when it comes to her, in my opinion.
It is. Here's the thing, and again, I mentioned 3GW again, but me and Rob have talked about Charlotte Flair like crazy because we're of the opinion she is the best in the world. That is our opinion.
That's why I'm saying she tops her down.
Yeah, that's why I have this picture in my background. This isn't something I just pulled up trying to find it because you mentioned Charlotte. I have this saved because I use this so much. Because she is the best in the world. She does everything right in the ring. Obviously, backstage, we got some problems. That's obvious. That's
for a woman to not really be in the indies, to go to a WWE platform and not only excel, you go and take the damn baton that your dad carried through every wrestling that he has been through so long of his decades. We all sit here and say Ric Flair's got a statue of himself. Charlotte needs to have one now.
Hers should be bigger.
It needs to be bigger.
Way bigger.
Damn near all the accolades. If we really want to be real, Charlotte's even said it. She wants to beat her dad's record.
She's beating her dad at everything.
She has.
The record to me doesn't matter. She is already surpassed her dad in so many things. That record to me, it doesn't do a thing. I don't care about that. She
is the main event in WWE right now.
She is hands down the best, and she's had to, and it's been a growth with her. She could always go wrestling, but it's hard for people who look at her now. But early Charlotte was horrific on the mic. She was terrible.
She tried to be too much of her dad. She tried to use that, hey, I'm Ric Flair's daughter type scenario. And she realized the fans fed into it and saw, hey, we don't like that. And she had to literally change herself up. I think the biggest moment that really changed her is when she went up with Paige, and Paige called her out on it on national TV. And that kind of changed the whole game, in my opinion. And that's what made Charlotte Flair, in my opinion, because we sat there and said, Ric Flair's daughter. We saw this. I saw a recent podcast she was on with Renee, Dean Ambrose, or whatever we want to call John Moxley's wife, whatever. She sat here and said that they were on ESPN promoting, I think it was SummerSlam, and she was upset that they sat there and said all the accolades to the 2 girls that she was wrestling, and then said the daughter Ric Flair. she found that very offensive because she sat there and told him, she said, I'm better than him. I'm not arguing with her. You are.
Charlotte,
She is my
Charlotte
number
Flair.
one, ladies and gentlemen. And
I
that is
have.
the only diva I put in my top
She's not a
10.
diva. She's not a diva. Don't insult her like that.
Female, woman, whatever we want to say.
Yeah, she's a women's wrestler.
She is the woman to make women's wrestling what it is.
She's a
If you
woman's
sit here and say a
wrestler.
dream women's match, I still say it to this day. Charlotte versus Tessa Blanchard would probably be one of the polarizing matches I could ever see.
That'd be good.
Everybody would probably say Britt Baker, whatever, but honestly, Britt
Baker
cannot hold a candle to Charlotte Flair. Or half of those women.
No. Nobody with a brain should ever say that. And I like Britt Baker, but no, she's
All
not
the
there
AEW
yet.
fans will say that.
I'm an AEW fan. I got a big old flag right there, but no.
You have more of a mindset into wrestling. I've been talking to nothing but AEW fans for a while.
That's people drinking that juice.
And they sit here and tell me, oh, yeah. I tell them, I was like, y'all enjoy the Kool-Aid because if Tony Khan keeps doing what he's doing, that's going to be deteriorating like TNA pretty soon if he keeps that up.
No. She's not even the best women's wrestler in the company. So, no. She's high up. I'm not saying she isn't up there. She's probably second or third, but she's not number one.
That's not saying much in AEW, though.
It's not. It doesn't. But there are at least some folks there. We're getting off base a little bit. It's cool. Statlander, I think, has tremendously improved from how she was when she first showed up. I'm so impressed with what she's done because I just thought she was the worst women's wrestler I'd ever seen. And now she has so improved, and it's good to see. She's just greatly improved, which doesn't make me feel good about full gear because that woman's match is going to be terrible. Oh, that's going to be terrible. I already know it. Oh, God, I better get my fireball ready for that match. All right.
You better just drink half the bottle.
I actually bought, I don't know if you've seen these. Have you seen those party buckets that have 20 shots? That's what I have. I have 2 of them in my fridge. I have 2. So I don't have 40 shots anymore because I drank a quarter of them. But I have those. So I'm fully stocked with Fireball. I'm ready for tomorrow. All right, folks, come on. Number 1.
We already know. That's why.
Yeah, come on. I mean, it's so obvious. Come on. Give me a friggin' break. There's nobody who should to me ever say that anybody else is number 1 other than Roddy Piper. He made the term heel as far as I'm concerned. He made it. He was Stone Cold before Stone Cold. He was Rowdy before Rowdy was cool, as he has said. Roddy Piper is the ultimate renegade, the ultimate heel who showed you I don't care. The man wore a shirt that said white is right, and he got away with it.
I forgot about that.
He got away with it. I mean, you know how much good luck doing that now. Good luck. But he would try it.
Won't even get out.
Oh, he would try it. He would just spin it some way. Maybe have the shirt backwards, or it would say that backwards or something. That's just Piper. He would find a way to do it. That's just who he is.
Gosh.
I mean, one of my favorite stories. Huh?
You imagine that if Piper was still around right now?
And he would.
Some of the stuff that he did back in the day.
Oh, he would be saying some outlandish stuff. I mean, I wish we had him around just because of the Trump era. Because my goodness, the things he would probably be saying would have been just hilarious. But I remember when he was facing one of the Guerreros in Mexico, and he came out and he was going to say, I'm going to do the Mexican national anthem with the bagpipes. And he goes out there and he goes, La Cucaracha, La Cucaracha. I'm like, dude.
Luckily, the people didn't understand him. That was the good part about that. Luckily, the fans didn't understand him at first.
He's worn the shirt numerous times. No fear. And that describes Roddy Piper to a T. He had no fear to go out there and say what he's going to say. And he doesn't care what you think because he's been stabbed a couple of times. Piper was fearless, and that makes him the ultimate heel. And the best compliment you can give to a heel is if he turns face and he's still able to pull it off. He turned face at the oddest moment in that boxing match with Mr. T. He walks in still the most disgusting human walking the earth. And trust me, folks, that's not hyperbole. He was the most disgusting human walking the earth. He said it. He couldn't go to a Denny's because people would spit in his food. So he was that hated. He walks in that match a heel. He leaves. The crowd starts chanting, Roddy, Roddy.
Which is crazy about wrestling now, because back then, a heel, you didn't make much money. It was based off of baby faces and stuff. So honestly, for him to actually want to stay as a heel and still be that polarizing that he was, that's got to say a lot, because how we sit here and say, guys, oh, they make so much money now. Wrestling is so catered, in my opinion. Like wrestling, you make more than what you made back in the day, even in the indies. Like Mendy's, I've had some shows where you don't make that much. I won't even deny it. Nobody's going to sit here and think we make WWE contract money when you first come out. If you think that, don't come to an independent and think you're going to wrestle out there, because that is not going to happen. If you come out there, I'll finish off with this. So my first show, I just got done watching the Kurt Angle versus HBK match, WrestleMania. I was so excited, getting ready. I was about to wrestle in my own area. Like I was wrestling in Callahan, Florida. I've been playing basketball there for so long. I've done so good there. So I get to wrestle there. Had all my friends and family, everybody coming to the show. Literally, I came in there realizing it wasn't as big as a wrestling event as we thought. Inside a high school gym. And luckily, my experience is a lot better than some of them are. But definitely a different mindset. So for Roddy Piper to come out and stay the heel that he was, you gotta respect, honestly respect, because he didn't win a WWE title,
which is a friggin' shame. That was a crime. Honestly, I mean, this dude, no joke, in my man's cave apartment,
he made Hogan.
This corner over here is my Piper corner. I've got Piper stuff all in this corner. Some posters, an old figure, a book, DVDs, Blu-rays that are Piper, all of it. This hat was in the corner. A brand new poster that I got off Pro Wrestling Tees. Just all kinds of little Piper knickknacks are in that corner. The man, he's the man, and I've said it. I was honored that I got to meet that man and thank him for the years of wrestling that I have been able to enjoy because of him, because he's what got me liking wrestling. Was him. And at that point, he was a heel. And I was the only one I knew around who was cheering Roddy. I'd go to wrestling house shows. I'd have that little hot rod shirt. There wasn't that many people wearing them. Just me. And I would get the look. And this is when Hogan is the top guy. And I'm rooting the guy that's spitting on him. Needless to say, I wasn't very popular. But don't care. Roddy Piper, the man, the ultimate, the greatest heel in the history of this business. Now, today, the past, the future, it's all Piper. That's it.
I like it.
There you go. That was it. How you feel? Got through a countdown there.
It was fun, man. It's really entertaining just to know how you can get in really excited about doing a list. Like honestly, when you're thinking about researching it and stuff, and you're just like, oh man, like how's this gonna really go? Like I feel like I'm gonna be exaggerated talking about it. Like honestly, all I did was write down the names and that's it. I came up with talking about the memories I had with it, and it makes it so much more fun.
That's the best part. That's the best part. If we wrote it, it would sound stupid. So that's the best part. And definitely enjoyed doing this list. This is a I do a year-end episode review where I start going through all the episodes, and when I get to the end, I kind of do an episode where I list my favorite episodes. This could be up there. Could be up there. This could be up there. Don't know for sure, but this could be up there for your first appearance, and you could already be up there already right off the bat.
Hey, I appreciate it.
Don't know yet. The year's not over. Still got a lot of episodes, but some competition, folks. Y'all have some competition. But what do y'all think of our countdown? Who are some of your favorite wrestling heels? You can get a hold of me and let me know in so many different ways. Of course, I let you know all the ways. You can send me an email. Just send the email to countdown2020@gmail.com. You can go onto the Facebook page, just search at the Countdown 2020 Podcast 1. Go on Twitter at the Countdown PO1. I'm on Instagram, Countdown 20. Go on Spotify. You can listen to all the episodes from the show. Just search the Countdown 2020. I'm on Amazon Audible. Search the Countdown Podcast, iHEART Radio, the Countdown Podcast. All the episodes are released through Podbean, so you can go on to Podbean, search the Countdown Podcast, or go to the website through Podbean, countdown2020.podbean.com. And of course, watching this, YouTube, go to the YouTube channel, just search the Countdown Podcast with MJ Book. Please like, listen, follow, subscribe, and also do the same for my man over here, Buzzing with Marlo. Do a plug for your show, man.
Hey, Buzzing with Marlo. I got an Instagram. It's called Buzzing with Marlo, at Buzzing with Marlo. I have a Facebook page, The Real Buzzing with Marlo. There is a fake one out there, so try to watch out for that. It has to say The Real. I mean, obviously, you can check out my wrestling days, American Prodigy. You can type them on Google. It pops up instantly. There ain't that many red, white, and blue Deadpools, like everybody likes to say, but fun times. I mean, it's just a good time, man. Yeah, exactly. I mean, just a good time, man. I got Twitter at Buzzing With. I mean, great time. You can also check out my recent episode that I just had with yours truly up here earlier this morning, talking about DC and Marvel. It's hit really well so far. It will be uploaded on YouTube, I think, in the next hour or so. It'll probably be a little bit earlier around MJ's time, but yeah. That's pretty much about it, bro.
All right. Definitely urge you all to listen to Buzzing with Marlo. I've just gotten into the show. He reached out to me, and that's what started this collaboration as well. Went on his show, had a good time. Honored to come back again, of course. I'm at your beck and call. Call me anytime you want. I'm on the regular schedule, I guess. So, and of course, you're always welcome to come back here. And I already told you, I think what the next one has to be, we have to do the opposite of the heels.
Got to do the baby faces.
You got to do faces. Got to do the babies. So that'll probably be our next collaboration. We'll start going into the lab and working on that. And of course, I always throw out the shout out, listen to Third Generation Wrestling with my friends, my cousins, the Real Biggie, Eric, and the Rob, the ambassador. Of course, I'm a contributor on there along with the good brother Blake and the doctor of wordonomics himself. They recently just posted a few episodes. Very recently, I saw that they did a prediction show for Full Gear, which we'll be watching, of course, tomorrow, and we'll be doing a post show for that. That'll be fun, and I'll probably get drunk. Who knows? So that'll be very interesting. But please watch the show and listen to them. They're available on all the avenues that I just mentioned, including Google Podcast as well. And before I lose my voice, want to also do a shout out and a quick thanks to Kevin McLeod for the use of the royalty-free music Ice Flow from Incomtech.com that you hear at the beginning and the end of every show. And anything else you want to say before I close this out, man?
I got to give a shout out to my boy Dre on Wheels. We just had our recent interview talking about wrestling itself and Lion King. If you want to know more on that, check that out. It's on the 11:30 Talk Pro Wrestling podcast where we were with my good friend Shiz Lansky. Over the Top Ropes, we have actually now formed a podcast group that is open for anyone, and we're now calling ourselves The Commission. It's 3 podcasts as one. We always talk about, we always want to collab. We made it really happen. What's right now it's called The Commission. Obviously, when it gets bigger, we might call it something else. But yeah, check that out.
I have to check that out.
A fun time, man. If you really want to know mindsets of wrestling, and it can go all over the place, go check that one out. It's so much fun.
I might check that out a little bit. I'll probably check that out. But great
Make
having
sure
you
you
on.
have some water.
Great having you on. Look forward to you being back on, and I will catch all of you again and again. Thank you all for listening and watching, and I'll catch you all again on the next episode of The Countdown. Have yourself a great day or evening,
Later.
whatever time it is. Bye-bye.